Then I'm going to insert my fish line to the next 2 beads, and on my left fish line I'm going to add 2 beads and then cross with 1. So to finish up this row, we are going to make a ring of 5 on the last bead here. So look at it now, this is the center, then this and this are the same thing, so this row and this row should be the same thing too. So we are making a ring of 5 on the last bead here, and then we do that by inserting our right fish line into the next 1 bead. We are making a ring of 5 and also turning. So on the same right fish line we add 2 beads and then we cross with 1. So we insert our right fish line to the last 1 bead over there. Then on the same right fish line, because we are turning, we insert 2 beads and then cross or loop with 1 to turn to the next row. So this is what you should have. Take note that the number of beads on this ring is 5. So the last ring here is a ring of 5, same as the one here. So that you don't make any mistake, please take note of that. So I'm going to flip this now, so we can start working on the next row. To start working on the next row, we insert our right fish line into the next 1 bead. We insert our right fish line into the next 1 bead. Then on the left fish line, we insert 3 beads and then we cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. So we insert 3 beads and then we cross with 1, cross or loop with 1 to give us a ring of 6, just like this. So this is our first ring on the new row. Then we continue building this row with rings of 6, and just like we've been doing, we insert our right fish line into the next 2 beads, and then on the left fish line we insert 2 beads and then cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. We insert 2 beads and then we cross with this one to give us a ring of 6 on our left. So we are going to make rings of 6 on this row until we get to the last 2 beads. So I'm going to meet you at these last 2 beads. Now I'm at the last 2 beads on this row. So just like we've been doing, I'm going to insert my right fish line into the 2 beads. I'll insert my right fish line into the 2 beads and then we'll be turning at this point to start working on the next row. And then to turn, just like we've been doing, we insert 2 beads on the same right fish line, because we are turning, we insert 2 beads and then we cross or loop with 1 to give us our first turn. So we insert 2 beads on the same right fish line and then we loop with 1 to give us our first turn. This is how your work should be looking. I have my first turn now. I'm going to flip this so I can work conveniently. After flipping, we are going to make our second turn so we can start working on the next row. And to do that, we are going to insert our right fish line into the next 1 bead, just like this. So insert our right fish line to the next 1 bead, and then on the left fish line we are going to insert 3 beads and then we loop with 1 to give us a ring of 6. So as I said earlier, on this back design there are rings of 5 and there are rings of 6. So just make sure you take note of where the rings of 5 are and where the rings of 6 are, so you don't make any mistake. So this is what I have, my first ring of 6 on this row. So we continue this row with another ring of 6. We insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads. Then on the left fishing line we start 2 beads and then cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. Then we continue again by inserting our right fishing line into the next 2 beads. Then on our right fishing line we start 2 beads and cross with 1 to give us another ring of 6. So to make the last string on this row, which is also going to be a ring of 6, we start our right fishing line into the next 2 beads and then we are going to be turning to the next row because this is the last string of this row. So we insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads and then on the same right fishing line we insert 2 beads. On the same right fishing line we insert 2 beads and then we cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. Just like this. So the last string on this row is going to be a ring of 6. So this is what you should have. If you don't have this, make sure you trace back where you made a mistake so you can correct yourself. I'm going to be flipping this now so we can start working on the next row. And this is what I have after flipping, so we can start working on our next row now. And next row is actually going to be the last row for this bag. So the same thing we have on this end is what we are doing here. The first ring on this row is going to be a ring of 5. So we insert our right fishing line into the next 1 bead. We insert our right fishing line into the next 1 bead. Then on our left fishing line we add 2 beads and then we cross with 1 to give us a ring of 5. So this is what you have now, a ring of 5 first on this row, the exact same thing we have here. Then we continue by making a ring of 6, and to do that we insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads. And on our left fishing line we insert 2 beads and then cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. We insert 2 beads and then we cross with 1 to give us a ring of 6. Now the last string on this row is going to be a ring of 5, just as we have here. So to do that we insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads and then we are also going to be adding our work here. So we are tying. We insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads and then because we are finishing our work on this ring we insert 2 beads on the left fishing line and then we make a knot. So insert 2 beads on your left fishing line and then we can tie now. Just like this. Actually, I'm tying very well. After tying, all you just have to do now is to pass your fishing line through your work so that you can hide your fishing line. So now we have our complete heart shape. So this is going to be one side of the bag. Then the next thing you have to do is just to make the same thing we did there, repeat it, and then we have the second side of the bag. So the next thing we want to do now is to build the size of the bag so we can give our bag form or shape. And then to start, we insert our fishing line into the 6th bead from the center. So you count from the center, you skip this one. This is the center, this is the center of our heart shape, so we skip this and then we start counting from this. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing. You skip the center part, you start counting from the next bead. So we count 1 2 3 4 5 6. So this is our 6th bead, this one right here. So we start our fish line into the 6th bead, just like this. So let's count again to be sure we didn't make any mistake. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So our fish line is in the 6th bead. So now we can start building our side of the bag, and then we do that by making rings of 6 around the bag. So I'm going to insert my right fishing line into the next one bead. To make our first ring, we insert our right fishing line into the next one bead, like this. And then on the left fishing line, we start 3 beads and then we cross or loop with 1. Then on the left fish line, we start 3 beads and then we cross or loop with 1 to give us our first ring of 6. So this is what you should have, our first ring of 6. Then we continue by inserting our right fish line into the next 2 beads. Then on our left fish line, we insert 2 beads and then we cross with 1. To make our second ring, we insert our right fish line into the next 2 beads, and then on our left fish line, we insert 2 beads and then we cross or loop with 1. I'm looping right now. It's 1. Don't forget to always make sure your work is tight. So you drag your fishing line. Then we continue by inserting our right fishing line into the next 2 beads. We insert our right fishing line into the next 2 beads. Then on our left fishing line, we add 2 beads and then we cross or loop with 1. So we are going to continue the same process of inserting our right fish line into the next 2 beads, then 2 beads on our left fish line and crossing, making a ring of 6 all around until we get to the 6th bead from the center on this side too. So remember, we started our work from the 6th bead from the center on this side, so we are going to stop on the 6th bead from the center on this side too. So I'm going to work off camera now and then we meet at the end. So now I've gone all around and my fish line is now on the 6th bead. So if I count now from the center, I'm going to you see that my fish line is on the 6th bead. 1 2 3 4 5 6. So my fish line is on the 6th bead now. So now you can see that my fish line is on the 6th bead. What we are going to do here is going to be a little bit different because we'll be turning on this point, so we can start building another row for the side. So the number of rows you make for the side depends on how wide you want your bag to be. So for example, now I don't want this bag to be too wide, so I'm just going to make 3 rows for the side. And then to make 3 rows for the side, remember we have 2 sides of the bag, so it's either I make two rows on one side and then I join the 2 sides with 1, or I make 1 row on each side and then I join the 2 sides with 1. So that will give me 3 rows. I don't know if you understand that. Let me go over it again. Okay, I want my bag to be 3 rows wide, so it's either I make 1 row on one side, then another row on the other side, and then I join together with 1 row. That will give me my 3 rows. Or I make 2 rows on one side and then join together with 1 row to give me my 3 rows. So for example, let's say I want my bag to be 5 rows wide. That means I can make 2 rows on one side, make 2 rows on the other side, and then join together to give me 5 rows. Or I can make 4 rows on one side, then join with 1 to give me my 5 rows. Just know the number of rows you want your bag to be, and the number of rows you make on the side determines how wide your bag will be. So now for this design, for the one we are doing for this tutorial, I want the side to be, because I'm using size 10 beads and it's going to be a little bit big, my beads are big, so I want the side to be just 3 rows wide. So I'm going to make 2 rows on one side and then I'm going to join with 1 row to give me my 3 rows. So I just want to show us how to turn. So to turn this, we are going to be inserting 2 beads on our right fish line. That's the exact fish line we inserted into the 2 beads. The exact fish line is the 6th row. Then we are going to turn. So we insert 2 beads on the right fish line, and then we cross with 1 to give us our first turning. We insert 2 beads on the same right fish line, and then we cross with 1 to give us our first turning. The same thing with how we make the body of the bag. So now we have our first turning, and now we can start working on this next row by inserting our right fish line into the next 1 bead. Then on the left fish line we insert 3 beads, and then we cross with 1 to give us our first row of 6. So we have our first ring on the next row now. Then we can continue building on this row too. So now I've gone all around, and I'm done with my second row on this side of the bag. So I built 2 rows on this side of the bag. I don't know if you can see. I built 2 rows on this side of the bag. So I'll be joining this side with this other end. Remember I told you I want just 3 rows for the side of my bag. So I'll be joining this one that I already built 2 rows with this one. So that will give me my 3 rows. So if you want something bigger, you can do 4 rows, you can do 5 rows, but I will always advise you do odd numbers. But I will advise you do odd numbers for your side. So you can do 5, you can do 7. 7 will be too big, don't do 7. You can do 3, you can do 5. And if you want to do 5, just make sure you do 2 rows on each end of the bag. So you do 2 rows on this one, you do 2 rows on the other end, then you join together with 1. So to join, I'm going to count my 6 beads on this other end of the bag. So I'm going to count my 6 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then insert my fish line into the 6th bead here. I insert my fish line into the 6th bead here. Let me count again to be sure I'm correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So after inserting my fish line into the 6th bead, I'm going to insert the right side of the fish line into the next bead, which is the 7th bead. So now I have my fish line in the 6th and the 7th bead. So after inserting my fish line into my right side of the fish line into the 7th bead, I'm going to put 2 beads on my left side of the fishing line. So I have 2 beads on the left side of my fishing line like this. Then I'm going to take the same left side of my fishing line now. That's why I inserted the 2 beads and insert it into this bead here. I don't know if you can see this bead at this corner. So I insert my fishing line into it just like this. And then I close with 1 bead. So just look at what I'm doing so you can get it. Then I cross with 1 bead, just like this. So this is how your work should be. And this, I have my first string of 6. I don't know if you can see it well. I have my first string of 6 this way. So this is how your work should look. We have our first string of 6 at this point. I don't know if you can see, but this is how your work should look now. We have our first string of 6. So to continue, we insert our right fish line into the next 2 beads. That's these 2 beads here. We insert our right fish line into the next 2 beads. And the left fish line into the next 2 beads too. Left fish line into the next 2 beads. And then we cross with 1. So we insert the right fish line into the next 2 beads, the left fish line into the next 2 beads too, and then we cross with 1. So this is what I have now. Then we continue the same process of inserting our right fish line into the next 2 beads, then our left fish line into the next 2 beads also, our left fish line into the next 2 beads also, and then we cross with one. So this is what we are going to do until we join the two ends of the bag together completely. We start our right fish line into the next two beads, the left fish line into the next two beads, and then we cross with one. So we are going to continue this until we go all around the bag. So this is what your work should look like after everything. We are finally done with the body of the bag now. So all we just have to do is to face the handle of the bag.